Hello, class. Good morning, everyone. So we are almost at the end of this chapter. We just have another two more topic. So in the previous class, we saw about this. What do you call literary sources, right? Page number 105. And the literary sources, we saw the different types of literary sources. That is religious and what do you call that? Secular sources, correct? So today let us see indigenous and foreign sources, which is also a part of literary sources. As I read the text, please look into your text. I may ask you to underline some of the important lines. As we know, many foreign visitors came to India at different points of time. They closely observed the Indian way of living, traditions, practices, and people, and recorded their experiences in the form of travelogues, memoirs, and accounts. Special mention can be made of the Indica by Megasthenes, who was a Greek ambassador in the court of Chandragupta Mayura. It provides important information about the ring of Chandragupta Mayura, the Mayuran capital of Patliputra, and the society at that time. Peripulus of the Erythraean Sea by an unknown sailor and the geography of India by Ptolemy are also well known examples of ancient Greek writings on India. Underline this. Peripulus of the Erythraean Sea by an unknown sailor and the geography of India by the Ptolemy are also well known examples of ancient Greek writings on India. Alright. Other notable examples are the accounts of Chinese travelers, that is, Fa Qin, Huin Sang, and I Sing, T is silent, okay, who visited India in different periods. Underline some of the names of the Chinese traveler. Fa Hing, Winsung, I Sing, who visited India in different periods. These accounts are collectively called foreign literature. Underline that as well. On the other hand, we have a bulk of literary texts written by the Indians, which we call indigenous literature. All right. I hope you got the difference between foreign literature and indigenous literature. Indigenous literature written by Indians, foreign literature written by travelers from other country who visited India but were not Indians. Okay. Now, when these foreign visitors they came to India, they various foreign visitors came at different point of time. Okay, whenever they came, what did they do is that they tried to understand. They noted down our culture, our practices, our living style, the way of life that we live. Okay, our beliefs. Okay, the different people that we have, community, traditions, and they recorded all those experiences that they had out here. And this experience they recorded in the form of various what do you call, there's various writings like travelogues, memoirs, and even accounts. In fact, some special writings are being mentioned. That is Indica, written by Megasthenes. Who was Megasthenes? Megasthenes was a Greek ambassador in the court of Chandragupta Mayura, and this writings it give. What does these writings do? What do we have? What do we get to know from these writings, from this record? It provides important information, especially if I talk about Indica, as mentioned in the book, which was written by Megasthenes. Indica provides the important information about the period, about the rule of Chandragupta Mayura, okay, and also the capital during his rule, that was Patliputra. All right, so this is one of the example that what do we get to know from these writings, from these records. So like from Indica we get to know about the information of the rule of Chandragupta Mayura, and also about his capital, and also about the society of that particular period, of that particular time. Likewise, there are also some other writings, as I asked you to mark. Periplus above the Erythraean Sea by an unknown sailor. Name is not mentioned. It's an unknown sailor. Okay, the one who has written this. Another writing, that's the Geography of India. Who wrote this? By Ptolemy. Okay, so these are some of the ancient Greek writings on India. Hmm? And also some of the various Chinese travelers, as I told you to mark, Fa Hin, Wen Sang, I Sing, they also visited India. And now all these writings written by these Chinese travelers, written by these Greek sailors, or written by this, what do you call, another Greek ambassador, Megasthenes, since they don't belong from India. So these writings are called the foreign literature. They have written about it. They have written on India, okay, of our country, but not they are not from this particular land. Okay, so that is why it's called foreign, out foreign literature. And what about those writings which are written by the people of our land? Those writings are called indigenous. I hope you understood indigenous literature and foreign literature. For your knowledge, just on page number 106 on the right hand side, below the para, okay, indigenous literature, see there is a matter of fact that is Brahmi, the script of the Ashokan edicts, was deciphered in 1837 by James Prinsep, an archaeologist, philologist, and official of the British East India Company. See, he was also another official of the British East India Company. But even though, what did he do? He wrote Brahmi. And what is Brahmi? It's a script, okay, literature, a literary source, okay, of the Ashokan period. Next, we have some more literary sources, okay, and unknown script. Thus, now we have discussed about this. What is that called? Periples of the Arthurian Sea by an unknown sailor. Likewise, we have some unknown scripts as well. Let us go through. There are some ancient literary sources whose script has not been deciphered. Underline this word. Okay, I'll ask you the meaning. The Harappan script, which continues to be a historical riddle, can be cited as the most striking instance. A riddle. Underline the word riddle or circle the word. What do you mean by riddle? I think many of you know. Many times you come across in magazines and all, a kind of an unsolved, a kind of a tricky question. Okay, which is not so straight, which is complicated, twisted. The peculiarity of this script is that one line is written left to right, while the next line is written right to left. Something different. One line is written from left to right, another line is written from right to left. A difference, and such type of script is called, there is a name. What is that? Boustrophedon, right? Script which where a line is written from left to right and the another from right to left is called Boustrophedon. Underline that. So I hope you got this chapter, right? So we are at the end of this test. We are done with the textual content. So now let us just have a quick recap of the entire chapter that we have discussed in this many days, okay, in the last couple of classes. There are some points mentioned in page number 106, 106 and 107 under the topic or chapter in a nutshell. I'll read out the points so that you can recollect, you can recall the discussion which we had in the earlier classes. The first point, history signifies past events that have been recorded, while prehistory is a period for which there is no written record. Next, chronological ordering of events is necessary for a systematic study of the past. Third, geographical factors have played an important role in shaping our history. Next, literary texts that serve as sources of history may be sacred or secular in content, sacred, religious. Okay, don't get confused. If any meaning of any word you're not, see, explanation will be done from my end, but when it comes to word meaning, dictionary, refer back dictionary, all right? Word meaning, it's very simple. Next, literary sources of history include the text compared in the past. This may be written or scripted, or it can be even orally communicated. Next, we get to learn about our past from different sources, which are broadly divided into two categories, that is, the literary and the archaeological sources. What is archaeological sources? Sources that have been unearthed through excavations at various historical sites, historical places, which include monuments, coins, inscription, cultures, paintings, weapons, poetry, ornaments, jewelry, right? Jewelry, and also other concrete objects at times you may find, okay, or artifacts. These are all associated with archaeological sources. So these are the main points of this particular chapter. So this, memorize these points, but after your understanding, so that you understand what are you reading. Just for the sake of memorizing, you don't know what are you reading, you will close your eyes and keep on memorizing. No use. Yeah, so we are at the end of this test. complete the exercise. All right, the answers of which will be shared with you, and almost all the answers of the assignments are being shared, not almost all the answers are being shared on the next following classes, right, on daily basis. So even these answers would be shared accordingly, but post your submission. Okay, so and enough for the day, we'll end up here. We shall see a new chapter in the next class. Go through the text, study well. God bless everyone.